Okay, we've got 2 more people coming. All right, so let's start with our 3-minute silence council, and then we'll start the sharing and going deeper into the process, see how the week has been for you. So gathering our thoughts for now, just being really open and curious about what the silence really wants us to know right now in this very moment. And the question to oneself, how am I going to be showing up for myself and others today? And if there was a part of you that you would love to bring forward for this meeting, do that. And if you want to show up as the whole, complete light, complete universe, complete God, not separated, not separate from anything else, you can do that too. Yeah, bringing the focused awareness back to the circle. Being here now with all of you, or a part of you, however feels most comfortable and right for this very moment. And to start with, I just want to congratulate you again on journey or made it through. It's it's past over halfway already. And I'm curious how things are progressing for you. Any victories, any challenges and whether you want to share anything from your homework from last week, if it feels right. Yeah. And thank you for being here, for showing up. So whoever would like
I do have a few things to say here.
Yes.
First of all, I'm in awe. The last time I had one bite of food was exactly 4 weeks ago. And that's like a miracle. And in my book, that's amazing. Like, wow. So that's really, really positive. I'm really enjoying that aspect. It feels magical, honestly. Um, However, after about a month now, I'm having some unexpected side effects. Some of them were warned, some of them are surprise to me. The first one is I can tell that my body is detoxing and that all the whatever deepest toxins are coming out through my skin. And the result is I am itchy from head to toe and I cannot scratch enough. It's almost like I'm covered in mosquito bites. So when I start scratching, it feels like heaven, but I can't get over that itchiness. It's just I'm wondering if I'm the only one here or if you guys are experiencing something similar because, man, I can't scratch enough. Um, Also, surprisingly, I realize that every time I do a dry fast, I get extremely tired. And I was kind of hoping I would get more energy over time. But today is my dry fast day. And last night I slept over 12 hours. And when I got up, I had so little energy. I was like, no, went back to bed and I slept for, I think, an extra 4 to 5 hours. Um, I was like, oh, okay. So I was hoping I would have more energy during my dry fast. I don't know what you guys, if you're handling it well, but to me, it has to be a day off. I don't do anything. I don't go to work. I don't entertain friends. I don't do anything. It's just because my energy level just drops too low. Um, and one of the thing is I was kind of hoping, really hoping that the hunger would go away, but for me, it didn't. Even a month later, it's not, my hunger is not 0 on 10. It's like a 3 on 10. You know, when somebody would say, hey, are you hungry? And you'd say, yeah, if you give me a meal, I'll eat it all. But I cannot say that my hunger has gone away. And right now, I just went to the grocery store to buy some Himalayan salt for a salt, like a salt water flush. Then I was in a supermarket surrounded by food, and I was like, oh my God, that bun looks delicious. And then it was like, oh, that pizza sauce really looks, oh, I could have some nachos and salsa. I was like, oh, is it ever gonna go away? I'm even a month later, I'm not craving, but man, don't put me a plate under my nose because you're gonna be tempting me really bad. And I was kind of hoping, I was wondering if you guys, what your hunger level is at. Did you reach 0? Because that's my goal, but I'm just not there yet. So in a gist, that's about what my last month has been. I realize also maybe because I'm dry fasting, the old emotions, I guess, the emotions are resurfacing, and for no reason at all. I find myself to be impatient, irritable, just cranky for no reason. I'm like, today's a beautiful day, and everyone like, "Arr!" And I was at the supermarket like half an hour ago, and I couldn't find a Himalayan salt, and I was like, ah, that's not me. I don't usually fret over petty things like that, but I can tell there's a difference in my moods. So anyway, lots happening for me over the last month, and I'm actually really curious to know if you guys are doing better than I am or how well you're handling it. That's it for me.
Would anyone want to share or comment before I will go deeper?
Matt
I
wants to
would.
say something.
Yeah. Okay, I can give you the rundown. So the first 2 weeks, I I told you that I went way too soon. I ended up because I was doing the first week I did one dry day and then but I ended up tasting stuff. Like I went and I would make broths and I didn't even strain out all the fiber. Okay, so I might have like a handful of vegetables in a big pot, and then I would just blend them up so that it's just watery. Okay, so I did that, and I did that for 2 weeks, and I wasn't losing any weight. Um, and but my energy level kept going up, and so what I did is I just cut it all out. Last week I haven't eaten anything and I didn't eat anything last week for 7 days. I say eat. I didn't taste anything. I had 3 dry fasts. I did Monday, Wednesday, and Friday where I did not eat or drink for probably 20 to 30 hours each day, and the rest were water days where I would always, I just have water and stuff. And I lost 10 pounds last week, so that worked. I also had a talk with my body that, hey, and negotiated with it so that maybe it would let loose of this stuff that I don't need, and I apologized for, abusing it all these years, and said I would try to be nicer to it, because I did have a motto, that my body was my slave and I'll do as I please. And it just needs to come along for the ride. I did that. It didn't matter what it was like. I just made it do it. But anyway, so but I've been tracking numbers, okay, which is I've had some really interesting things. Mind you, Yannick, man, the chips and salsa, man. I dream about chips and salsa. So anyway, but I do not have hunger. I don't have hunger. I do love to taste stuff, man. And it's like I'm drinking tea right now. So this week I'm going to do something a little different. And because last week I was so stinking tired, man. I couldn't do if it weren't for the fact that I'm always at home and my work is from home, but I didn't get hardly any work done. I was just like I would and I biked 5 miles a day, 6 days a week, 2 days I did 10 miles. But it's like, kind of like a zombie biking, not I wasn't doing anything extravagant. I was just moving. I even did some weight resistance for like 10 minutes a day. But what I did was I tracked my blood and glucose level throughout the times, and my glucose level, ketone level, glucose and ketones. So my ketones are off the stinking chart. Like my meter won't even register; it just says high, because it's above 8. And my glucose, it has been, down. I've seen it as low as 25, between 75 and 25, and so this week I'm trying something different because and I did coffee this morning, and I did 16 ounces of coffee this morning, and I am drinking tea right now. um but it didn't affect my ketones and glucose. My glucose even went down after drinking coffee, and for 3.5 hours I had a higher energy level to where I could actually work, man. I could think, and I'm walking on the treadmill. And then somewhere after, it was weird, but even though my numbers actually look like I should be more tired, but I didn't feel more tired. That was odd. It might have been the caffeine. I don't know. But before, and the 2 weeks I was doing caffeine, I was doing coffee when I drank. But normally when I come off coffee, I have headaches and crap. Nothing. There was absolutely, when I went from that to absolutely nothing for this past week, I had no fallback or anything like that. Now, Yannick, I have I haven't had any of the itching or the only detox thing that I noticed that I've had this every time I've done long fasts, is right in the middle of my back, there's this muscle that it's totally detox related, because I told you guys that goofy story about eating Sabaros and then my back stopped hurting immediately. So I totally relate it to detox symptoms. So I have that off and on now. The other thing, something that was really interesting, this happened on Tuesday. So I'm watching my heart rate monitor as I'm biking, and normally when I fast, my heart rate goes up. I mean, it gets like off the charts. Like right after the dry fast that we did for 3 days, I started biking and I just barely leave the driveway and my heart rate's up to 130. Normally it's 100 or 95 or something like that. Well, even though I've been fasting this whole week, my heart rate is like, it's like my heart is finely tuned, man. And my blood pressure, well, I have to say, like now, I at the end of this week I've been lightheaded a little bit, but my heart rate seems to be even better than before. Even though I'm a little lightheaded when I get up or something like that, and my energy is low, but my heart is different. It's weird. And how do I say this tactfully? Normally when I'll just say it, y'all are adults. In the times past, you guys might not want this information, but it's, you know, interesting to me. In the past, whenever I do a long fast, by day 4, I'm impotent. Nothing works, man. So my wife knows she's cut off as soon as I'm start fasting after about 4 days. That has not stinking been, that is all fixed, even though I'm fasting. So that has to do with the whole heart rate thing or something, blood pressure, but that's interesting because that's different than before. So something in me has changed. I can say that. So I'm thinking, is there anything else I could tell you that's worthwhile? I think that's about it. I should shut up. Next.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Bobby, did you want to say something? Rihanna?
Well, I've had a little bit of itching, but I generally what I use is just a bath brush, and you will find I have found that there's considerable relief from the itch after I use that. So rather than scratching or doing any damage to the skin, that really feels great, and all of a sudden the itchiness subsides. And I think it was last week when Matt asked about, weight not coming off, and Grace said it could be down to emotional. And there's another book that I think is really great if you want to find out what's going on with you in certain areas. It's The Secret Language of Your Body by Ines de Gaulle. And you can actually look up, I look up certain things that I'm dealing with, and generally I can pick something out that sticks, that's relevant to me, so I know a direction on what to work on. So I found that to be an extremely useful tool. Last week, my granddaughter asked me to breakfast, and I go. And fortunately, where we went, they had a fruit sorbet, which is blended fruit that's just creamy. And normally there's fruit and stuff. I just brought the fruit home to put in my my juicer the next day. So I was able to go and have breakfast with my granddaughter and still be a part of what we're doing here and stuff. So it's you just got to be creative in some ways. But no, I don't do the dry fast because the one day I tried it, I didn't have any energy, and then things came up and it was difficult for me. So I do the water fast on the days, so because I want just a little more of an energy level. I don't want to be exhausted all day in case something comes up or I have to address something. So those are some of the things that I'm doing. And it's it is a conditioning type of thing. The energy has come back quite a bit. I'm walking quite a bit now, even on the hilly terrain that I have. It's, you know, I can see things improving. So it's been nice. And it is nice not to have to think about what you're going to eat, what you want to eat, and that type of thing. So, although I do, I'm a good cook and I like to cook. So I'm making things for other people. So I get to still do what I like to do. And you know, other people get to enjoy it. So that's what I'm doing.
Hey, Bobby, do you find yourself to have any hunger at all? Do you, at any point, you think about eating food or just wish you would have a bite of something?
Now, as far as thinking about food, yes, and my outlet is cooking for others. And I get the smells and I do a little taste to make sure it's right. But so that's my outlet. But as far as hunger, you know, like the tummy growling and stuff, I did an ebook on intermittent fasting, and I happen to know that that's just grayling being released by your stomach, letting you know it's empty. So I've kind of trained myself. If I can smell something, it's almost like eating it. And the cooking has been a really nice outlet for me to realize, oh, that feels really good. And then the body responds satisfied. So I was really surprised by that, really surprised by that. So that's what I have done in order to overcome. But I haven't noticed a real strong urge to, you know, like what I made and stuff. I had a taste and I didn't want any more. So I was surprised by that. So, but you know, that's been my experience. Yeah, try cooking something that smells really good and see if that helps the hunger.
Thank you for sharing. Well, we spoke. Osha, you want to say something?
Yeah, thanks, Bobby, for that very articulate explanation of what you're going through. I don't like to cook, unfortunately, so I fantasize about what I'm going to eat when I have my 1 day a week eating, tasting, just simple stuff, you know, like toast with lots of butter. And, you know, because I'll be going to the coast, you know, I'm thinking, okay, I'm out in the country here. Yes, I should go to some ranchers, farmers' places and pick up some really good Alberta beef steak and for my son and, you know, and beef jerky and kind of imagining, you know, maybe tomatoes, fresh tomatoes on toast. Oh, salivating, right? But I had my first broth day on Saturday. I decided to have it on Saturday rather than wait till this coming Wednesday. And oh my God, it was so delicious. It was like heaven. It was just, yeah. I didn't have to do anything to it, you know. So this was from my roommate, had some broth, and another friend had made some broth, and both of them were just so fantastic that I could live on. I feel okay. My fresh squeezed orange juice every day and my broth every day. I could live on that. And it is meat broth. And it's just awesome. And so, and my energy levels are picking up. Today is my dry fast day, and I feel much better today, this day, than I did last dry fast day, last Monday, where remember I was kind of dragging myself around. I did have a cranky day on Thursday. It was one of those days, you know, where you're just out of sorts, and where when you go to the grocery shop, you can't open the bag, you know, those, it's just, you can't get it open, right? Stupid little stuff like that, you know, aggravating little things. And it's still beautiful weather here, so I do still get my sunrise, sunset gazing in, and I still have my nice time on just laying on the ground in the sun and getting warm. Let's see. I still have. as far as my body goes, you know, like I'm losing weight, but I'm starting to look scrawny, and I don't quite look, you know, I'm sort of getting a little nervous about that. Yet I still have some fat in some areas that's not gone, and I know that the body is choosing its priority on what to detox, because there is a detox process when you're losing fat, because a lot of toxins are stored in fat. And so my body has prioritized, or and with my soul has prioritized the order that it wants to detox in. And my priority for this year, as I've asked, what's the priority, is to detox first, make sure I'm detoxed, and then to rebuild the body how my soul wants it. So, but still, it's kind of scary when your body starts looking scrawny, right? And I do know that I want to look healthy, you know, and so anyway, so yes, and I do have hunger a little bit more actually than I did last week, and I am lightheaded. I am kind of more lightheaded than I was last week, but I am increasing my exercising. So, but I'm still taking it very slow as far as putting extra strain on the body. The exercises are light, you know, and not too rigorous, but then I could go slow with it. Yeah, so I think that's all I have to say actually for the moment. And yeah, my detox is mainly in my throat area, sinuses, and mucus in the throat by the thyroid, which has been an issue for me anyway. So, and I did my first coffee enema yesterday, and it was like fantastic. You know, normally I would do it after a saltwater flush, but I thought, I think I'll wait for the saltwater flush. And so then I did another coffee enema today, and again I just felt great. I feel like I'm really, because I want to help my liver with the detox process, because this is what's happening now. So it needs to deal with my body's detoxing. So it felt really, really, really good to do that coffee enema. And I felt that there was also a lot of toxins being released right away via that coffee enema. Even though today's my dry fast, so I wasn't taking in any extra water to actually flush from the top through. But I'm going to continue with probably maybe, I think my body said about four coffee enemas a week. Not every day, but and then I'm not sure when I'm going to start with the saltwater flush. But I'll check in with my body, and I do talk to my body. So I have been suggesting, hey, how about a little more fat off of this area? Okay, can we do that? We'll see how it goes. Anyway, so in the meantime, I'm kind of wearing baggy clothes, and this weekend, as Yannick must know, it is Canada's Thanksgiving, and I'm not going to the family thing. I already told them, and they said okay, or they didn't. There was no pushback from them, because it would be awkward me sitting there and them and me not eating. It would be awkward for them, right? So I know my mom would think, oh, she's a fanatic. And so I don't need that energy whatsoever. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, thanks.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay? Yes? Okay. If you can't, let me know and I'll cut it out. So, I'm just really happy to see you guys and to see you guys like on your track, like on track. And, you're still, you're going, you're still alive and losing weight. You look fine to me. I've noticed what an emotional eater I am, little things, I kind of don't feel good and I think of food. I tried getting a treat, and usually I'll just buy a treat and I'll just buy it in mouth like that, basically. But I'm trying to buy the stuff that I like and like hold it in the bag as I walk, like if you brought like to a destination. And you know, this is simple for other people, but I just in my home when we had a family gathering, we would prepare a party, prepare the food, and we would pick at it, and that was completely acceptable. Later at another boyfriend's house, you did not pick at the food. You did not. That was not part of the protocol. So I feel like discipline in that regard with food is just not something I was raised with. So I'm just kind of exercising it here on my own, or trying to. I'm also realizing how much I kind of lie to myself. Like at the beginning, I was like, "Oh, I'm not really hungry, but I'm gonna eat this because out of the pleasure of it, you know." And you know, progressively, and you know, I'll set like a goal to like dry fast this day, and I don't. Maybe I'll dry fast half a day. I'll make it half a day. Um, or I'll notice I don't have hunger pains. I'm not. I don't think I'm hungry. It's like I'm not sure what's going on. It's like, but I keep thinking about food. It's like maybe I'm at work and I don't think I'm not hungry, but it's like I'll like go. I want to go get food out of like precaution, so that later when I have to be working, I can already have it. But then I just buy and eat it. So it's like I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. It's just been interesting to witness and watch. And I've noticed that if let's say I'm eating with, let's say somebody else wants to eat, I feel uncomfortable not eating with them. It's not even that they feel awkward that I would eat. It's like I just, oh yeah, yeah, I'll have something because you know. So it's just interesting to observe, you know. Yeah. So I want to get that book that Yannick recommended of kind of extending this over 3 years. You know, I probably will buy the paper, the actual hard copy of it. I got it digitally, but I haven't explored it yet. So that's it. That's it on my end. Thank you, guys.
It's nice to see you too, Christina. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I on Monday my meditation center started a class. I wanted to support that, and the first Monday that I missed, our like spiritual guide died. So I felt like I needed to attend that, but I wanted to be visible and more participate. I really appreciate. This has been in the background, you know. This experience is so special, you know. I wanted to engage. So, thank you.
Yeah.
So
I have a
maybe I'm
question.
the last one.
Oh,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Eric. It's just a very quick question to Shay. Because earlier you mentioned that once a week you allow yourself to taste, like have a toast with butter. I'm intrigued. No, then I misunderstood.
That'll be after our integration. So in November, I've decided I will taste or eat something on Saturdays. Yeah.
I understand now.
Just yeah.
And the reason I'm asking simply briefly, because I have done the process before, to me, to quit eating food was very similar to quit smoking. I don't know if anybody here has ever been a smoker, but the time I had to quit smoking, you cannot believe that you can have only one cigarette afterwards. If you go that route, or if you go without smoke for 6 months or a year, and then somebody says, "Hey, have one cigarette," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I can have just one." That's a pitfall. And to me, the last 2 years, that's exactly what has happened, is that as soon as I start eating, if I have one slice of pizza, then I go like, I lose my marbles and I just want more. So, and I was wondering if you guys are even able to eat a little bit, because I cannot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, Yannick. I'm normally that kind of person. It's all or nothing with me. And so I'm not sure if that's going to work, but I also don't want to get into the energy of where I'm denying myself the pleasure, the taste of food. So it may be just that I'll just, make a nice little smorgasbord for myself and have a bite and chew it and spit it out. Maybe that's what I'll do. But I've picked Saturdays because that's normally when families have the things or friends or there's gatherings, usually on a Saturday. So if I'm gonna eat, then I would eat at things like that. So I'm gonna have to either get that straight in my mind that I'm not eating, that I'm not going to be in the habit of eating, or I'll maybe have that one sort of meal a day. But even Ray, I mean, he said he now eats, maybe once or to 3 times a week. So, right. But I'll have to see how it works for me. I might not be able to do it. Like you say, I may just end up going crazy and eating a whole cake or something stupid, right? I don't know. My birthday's in November, so no, I think I think I'm okay. I've asked my body and I've checked in, so I'm not sure yet. We'll see how. But if I can just not eat, period, and then maybe just eat, on the occasion when it's a family thing, maybe that's the way it'll do, rather than sit there and deny and be a weirdo and antisocial, because I'm so antisocial already that I know that's sort of part of my learning in this lifetime is to be a little bit more involved and participate. And yeah, okay, thanks for mentioning that, Yannick.
Yeah.
Something I was going to say there, Yannick. I guess maybe I have those concerns too, because mind you, I've done long fasts before, but that was before I had it in my head that I didn't really need to eat ever. When you always go, well, I'm gonna have to eat someday, because I remember, after fasting for 21, 28 days, I going, you know what? I think, man, if I didn't have to eat again, I'd be okay. And so, and plus I'm a heavy swinging pendulum, man. So I know my tendency is to be extreme. And but I've noticed steady plotting in my past. There's been times when I've done really consistent things that have paid off really well. And I don't usually the heavy swinging things. Yeah, I might accomplish something in a period of time that other people normally wouldn't do. Or I think of we're all here. We obviously are those people that do off the wall stuff, because this is not the average. Okay. But I have my concerns that if I eat something, is that gonna screw with me? Because right now, I mean, I've made some different kinds of broths. My wife's an awesome cook, and so she would make a soup, like a vegetable soup, or she'll make these Indian dishes. Well, what I'll do is I'll just make vegetable broth, and I'll use the same spices as she made for that that Indian dish. Oh my goodness, that stuff was, I mean, like on a scale to 1 to 10, it was a 10. It was so stinking awesome. And all I'm doing is drinking broth. And I know I enjoyed mine better than they enjoyed theirs. So I'm just, and it's one of those things. I've got a son who's coming to live, my oldest boy's coming to live with me. I'm going, I can't explain it to you because he's an adrenaline junkie and all that. So the idea that you've sensitized your body to the extent that you enjoy these things that are so simplistic better than people enjoy who just are doing it all the time. You unless you experience it, you can't. So I do wonder if I go back to in, because I feel like in the past I was pretty much I was a junkie, man. When I got on my truck in on April 8th of this year, I weighed 269 pounds. I gained 60 pounds while my wife went back to the house to take care of her dad. So I was alone for 2 months and I went crazy, man. I just ate every piece of crap junk that and gained 60 pounds while she was gone. And because I knew this was it was like I'm never going to do this again. And so I just didn't worry about it. And so I experienced that, but I've done this before. I've lost 100 pounds before. So I had every confidence that I'll just drop it. But when I got home, it kind of took a while. But I also had already made a commitment to the date. And as soon as the date came up, it was like cold turkey and it's all going away because I'm like 195 pounds now. And I got at least 20 pounds more to lose and I'm making it happen. So, but I do have that concern that, well, what if I eat that pizza someday? Or what if, all that, it's like in the past, it was like cocaine, man. It was, and so I don't want to go down that road again. So I wonder, should I even eat that stuff? Well, even so, I don't know why. I don't know. There's just that part of me. I have those concerns too, Yannick. I don't. As soon as I uh, eat something and it's tough because it's like Ray said, depending upon how you feel about it. Because there's parts of me that has a conscience towards what I eat. Because you know, I've been to farms and things like that, so I'm a little bit more conscious of do I really want to support that? How they're treating those animals and eat that crap. Because generally I don't eat meat. Or yeah, so I think about that. Or do I want to, I drink that stuff, that high fructose corn syrup bull crap? Because if I feel good about it, if I can feel good about it, maybe it doesn't affect me. I don't know. I mean, I don't know all those things. I want to believe that, but it's the idea. I also don't want to really support the system that's been addicting people for years, man. So there's all those things. I just think about how I should handle it. Some people can do that, man. They can just have this little bit of this. I've never been that guy. I don't eat one Oreo. I eat the whole stinking pack. That's the way it's been. And I don't want to go there again. So, there's that part of what do you do? So anyway, I'll quit jaw jacking, but I can totally empathize with the concern there, man.
Just to add on that note, something unexpected happened to me earlier this week. Is I had a coworker that approached me and started to talk, and as he was talking to me, he was eating almond chocolates. And as he's about to finish, he's like, "Oh, what am I doing, eating in your face?" And then he literally gave me the last two chocolate that he had. And in that specific moment, it would have been totally inappropriate for me to say no. If I had said, "Oh, no, no, don't," it's just a small thing, right? It's a natural thing. So what did I do? I grabbed the two chocolate and I ate them, not thinking anything of it. And guess what? It didn't generate the hunger, or it didn't send me into a spiral because somebody just offered it. It was so innocent. It was gentle. It was generous, right? But I thought to myself, oh my God, I just had a bite of something to eat for the first time this month. Oops. Sorry about that. Anyhow, what happened is that it really lingered in my mind, but I realized there was no craving. It's not like I go to the store and look at the chocolate bars and go like, that would be good. Or maybe I'll have a piece of chocolate. No, it was very innocent. So that's a light lighter side, I guess, some kind of hope to say that if somebody offers me something to eat and I just grab it and eat it, I don't feel like I'm breaking my promise or my seal of no, I'm a breatharian. It's just being social. It was a social way of responding, but thank God it did not make me hungry afterwards.
I want to say I'm so proud of your courage and of your sharing, being really aware of what's happening, being curious, really noticing these things, because that awareness really gives you additional power. Um, and that power, I'm not talking about control, it's just being aware of what it is that it's almost like triggers us, or what it is that we crave, or what it is that we love or we don't love, and going deeper into, questioning it. Oh, how come I really want that? And each of you has indicated how much you love yourself in that way, because you are, inquiring about yourself. You are talking to the body, and it's just beautiful to see. Yeah, just honoring yourselves. I want to mention something, because Yannick, you mentioned about the skin itchiness. Very often, our body talks to us very literally, because that's how it works, the subconscious mind. And the body doesn't know sophisticated words, or so sometimes it will be the dreams, through the dreams giving us some information about what's happening, what we need to address. And sometimes it will be very literal, with the pains or discomforts in the body. And I'm sharing this because, this particular process that we're doing this time, for me, something came up for me that hasn't happened before in other processes. So it indicates to me, and it shows me that it's always the process. It's not right or wrong. It's not like we can figure things out straight away. It's not like we're gonna reach a particular goal straight away. And by surrendering to that process, actually allowing the body and all the body parts, the emotional, the mental, to really do what they need to do in order to heal itself. So it's like we're giving the permission for the healing to happen, whatever it may be, and remembering that any discomfort, any pain, it's really the body. It's like weakness leaving the body. So on one hand, it gives us a sign that something is happening, so we can become aware of it, but we become aware of what we're releasing. So I mentioned before about, how old injuries may come up, in terms of physical stuff. And I had this happening for each process, or each, longer reset that I've been doing for myself. There's like another layer of something, and even the same stuff. So for me, it was a back issues, for example. But this process, something else came up, and it was for the first time, and I just had to wow, there's these other things that want to be released, and being really gentle with oneself. It's so important. because the first thing that came for me is, oh, maybe there's something wrong. How come it's hurting me now? It's been like 40 years since I had it, first time. And it's like, wow, but it wants to release. Something else wants to release, right? So even though I've been on this journey for 4 years, or just in terms of pranic awareness, because on the actual journey way longer, there's still new things that come up for me. And so whatever is happening in the moment, it's like there's no need to be concerned, or trying to it's like we really want to analyze, we really want to observe, but at the same time, that's really deep trust that the body really knows what to do. Is just magical, and it feels so freeing, feels so liberating. And with the skin itchiness, for example, can be a message that you're releasing. And I'm not saying that it is for you, Yannick, but one of the things that I've experienced through work with people was that with anything with the skin, it could be like I'm releasing not feeling good in my own skin, for example, like that, because I am changing. It's like the caterpillar turns into a butterfly. It has to shed its cocoon, or it has to shed the skin, like the snake transforming to a different stage. So there's no right or wrong. And even with the weight issue, for example, whether it will be trying to lose more or trying to to gain more, it's not the gain itself or the loss of the weight. It's about how we feel about it. How does that make us feel that we want something different? I know in my case, I been struggling with weight for years, and not in a way like physical, but it was very, very emotional and mental. Because my mom, for example, she's very obese, and I remember when I was little, a lot of kids were teasing me about it. Oh, your mom is, fat, or oh, your mom still goes to school, things like that. And it really stayed with me. And I promised myself I will never, ever be like that. It was just that something like as a little girl, I told myself. So every time I would physically put on weight, I'll be really frustrated. I'll be really angry with myself that I'm letting myself down, that I'm becoming like my mom. And going really deeper and deeper into those feelings, realizing that this is actually something that it's like I created myself for myself, It's like you create this paradigm or this vision or something that I said, the body listened. One of me wanted that, right? So in that way, we such powerful creators. So it's like for me, and you might notice this as you move along on the journey, it's really going backwards. It's like we're dealing with something that's happening right now, something emotional. Oh, we really want that food. But also there's other things like moving back to the childhood, even womb, and maybe even beyond that. So I admire you, and I feel so inspired too by your bravery of continuing being so curious about yourselves, being so showing up for yourselves too, and noticing whether it will be frustration, the mood changes, or planning ahead of time. Oh, I better buy this food, never knows what happens. Or planning the meal that like Shay mentioned, a toast once a week. It's all good. There's no right or wrong, and just noticing it that, you know, we may be thinking about the future and we're not in the present moment, or maybe we're pondering about the past, what it was, and how come it's not there now. Mm. So continuously being in the present moment, in this divine presence to oneself. And the same with, you know, I think Matt, you mentioned about the meat, because I went through that journey. I'm not saying that the same way, but something around the relation to meat, because I haven't eaten meat for a long, long time. And then one day I found out about my dad. Like, I found out who he was and what he was doing. Went back to Poland, my original, you know, place where I was born. And I started eating meat. And then it was like this reconnecting with my roots back to that time. And I didn't want to resist it because of my beliefs or, you know, protocol. Oh, no, I'm never going to eat meat. That was kind of my, you know, attitude in the past. But then it just felt so wrong not to eat it in that moment, to allow that grief for me to unfold. It's like I met my dad, but then I also said goodbye to him in the same time. And it's okay. And so I guess what I'm saying is that we won with everything. And whether it's outside of us or inside of us, what matters is that if we feel that we won with it, then that's the path to go. If we resist it and we think something is wrong, I shouldn't be doing it, that's when I'll invite curiosity. And again, with that kindness and non-judgment, either way, whatever it is, whether you feel like eating meat or you feel like not eating meat or whatever else it might be. I feel like being with this person, or I don't feel like being with this person. It doesn't really matter what the object of that sensation perception is, but really gently allowing it to surface, and it's like you want to embrace it. And I'll share with you something that happened. I now have also a mentor, and I was noticing another thing coming up for me too through the process, this conditional love to my child, and I was like really feeling guilty that oh, I'm not the perfect mother. And my mentor, he's male, and what he told me just completely shifted something for me as well, because, you know, we're not separate from each other, and it's like he helped me heal something within me, just like you know, when you share between each other, among each other, something helps you heal a different part of you. And maybe maybe saying healing is not the right word, the most accurate word, because we already heal, we already complete, but it's the perception of think that we need to heal something, or fix something. But what he said he didn't say anything about me. He just shared his own story. And he said, when I was young, all I wanted is to have a mother. I didn't need a perfect mother. I just wanted to have and be with my mother. And that itself, for me, was like, I started crying so much, releasing, and there was just this acceptance of a different part of me, as a mother, that even as a mom, I don't have to be perfect, like I have to be imperfect. So on this pranic journey, all these different things that are going to come up for you, you know, maybe it's like that too. You know, not to think, oh, well, this has a bit of chocolate. It's all right. I don't have to, you know, we're perfect in our imperfections. And there's no right or wrong. Everything is just perfect as it is. You are perfect. And you are already one. You are already breatharian. You've always been. Yes.
If I could, I'd like to ask the group a question. I just recalled something that's changed a little bit. Is I think it might have started not last week, maybe the week before, but okay, like shortly after or after the dry fasts that we did, I really enjoyed, like, all the inflammation in my body went away because I had this, except for when I'd walk, and some of it may be retraining my body that I'm I'm not I'm not the guy that sits all the time. I'm the guy who walks all the time, that moves. I'm trying to make this body understand we're a moving body now. So but my lower back gets tight. The muscles in my lower back get tight. My right leg almost goes kind of numb, and then I'll stop the treadmill and I'll bend over and stretch those back muscles, and it feels like um something was blocking it, and then the flow goes back down to my leg, and then I can go again for a while. Okay. But through the day, or when I get up in the morning, I didn't, my back didn't hurt and my fingers didn't feel stiff or anything like that. And that went on for, I don't know, maybe a week or two, but just in like the last week and a half or something like that, that junk has come back, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a detox thing or what, but so my back kind of aches in the morning. My hips are starting to hurt again. Like I'm laying in bed and my hips will hurt and I have to turn over. You know, I turn over when I'm sleeping anyway, just because it's kind of comfy to flip over. But now it's like I got to do it because my hips hurt or something like that. I don't know what that is. Anybody having any kind of experience that way? Because the lack of I've always enjoyed when I fasted in the past, like day 4 of a fast, somewhere in there, the inflammation goes away and it's like so awesome because you get that old man feeling. I don't know if everybody else is like this, but where you go to pick something off the ground and everything gets stiff. That it's like everybody who gets older, and it has nothing to do with age. It's inflammation all throughout your body, because I've lost it so many times because I've played with this whole fasting thing. Um, but this time it's come back and I don't know what it is. Even this week when I haven't been eating, so I don't know what. It's just weird. Anybody have any experience with that?
There's definitely something I need to add to this, Matt, is relating to everything you're saying. I have been the most sick in the last 2 weeks than I have since 2004. I'm not even kidding, because I work in the frontline paramedics. My immune system is like Superman. I do not get sick. And today I had to book off from work because I have been so unwell, physically speaking, like in health wise, over the last 2 weeks. I didn't think much of it. To me, I kind of think it's part of the detox process. I'd love to hear everybody else's perspective on that. But everything you're saying, I relate, and I'm thinking, I'm hoping this is just a temporary thing that will pass. Right?
You did this before, man? So how was your experience before the last time you went through this process all by yourself?
That's a very big question in a way, because this is the third time I'm doing the process, and this is by far the most difficult. I'm experiencing a variety of side effects that I did not have before. I adjust to a group pace as where I'm very individual. I did my own thing. Whoops. Again, sorry about that. My battery is about to die. I'm gonna have to flip it. But anyway, what's that, Eric?
So sorry, my microphone was on. Sorry.
And I can, in a
Yeah, but-
nutshell, really what I'm saying is that, yeah, it's been difficult health-wise over the last 2 weeks.
Something you might think about, Yannick, is because you've done this a number of times, you might be getting to where you're going down deep, you know, and getting crap out that wasn't before. Because here's something odd. I know I don't want to be gross, but you know, we're here dealing with this junk. But like, okay, so here's a guy, I haven't eaten squat for a month, like really, except for that stuff that's in the broth. But I haven't sunk my teeth into anything. And this last 7 days, what I was doing is I was doing enemas on my water days. Okay, I started off once a month. I did the salt flush. I've done that twice now, and I did it just before this week, and then I did enemas like 3 days this week with okay, so there's a stuff called mucoid plaque that people that are toxic as crap and they've been eating stuff their whole lives, your intestines actually get lined with almost like a hose, man. And if you look it up, it'll be like a rubber hose, and some people actually have sections come out. So you've got your intestines and then you have a liner. Well, you've been poisoning yourself with pop and partially hydrogenated bullcrap, and well, it just sticks in there. And then you finally give your body time break. Well, I've taken these enemas, so why is stuff coming out? I mean, I've done saltwater flushes and then these things, and so why is stuff? Because there's still stuff in there, and that's and so that may be part of your junk. And also, if you're going down deep cleanse and stuff, this is just a theory, man. I'm just throwing it out there because your body taking the time, you can feel. And I've heard this from Lauren Lockman, runs a fasting workshop in Costa Rica, and so he watches people fast for 6 weeks at a time, all the time. I'm not saying you can buy everything, because he totally does not approve of what we're doing with dry fasts. He thinks that's bullcrap. But anyway, but what does he know? Not everything. And so, but he says that your body, when it'll pull out detox, and so you will have these crazy symptoms that because there's like poisons in your body, and once it lets loose of them, your body will react as if you just did drugs that you did a long time ago, because they've been stored in your body because your body couldn't cope with detoxing them a long time ago. Just so there's some theories out there, man. Just something to think about. Might be hopeful.
I've blasted away stuff in my intestines using celery juice. I drank 64 ounces of celery juice once, and I blasted stuff. And then as far as inflammation, I recently watched a movie on grounding, and I'm interested if any of you guys know about grounding, and it claims to help reduce inflammation because you're like electrically balanced with the earth. So you can explore that, or if anybody knows about it.
Grounding makes a big difference, tremendous difference. If you can get your feet on the dirt or rocks or something, it really does help to move the static energy into the earth. It's like we're like a lightning rod, right? And so that's super important. All the symptoms you're that you're exhibiting, itching, any illness is basically the body detoxing. Every one of them. That's what it is. The body is getting rid of, whether it's chickenpox, measles, flus, colds, all of that is the body detoxing. There is no such thing as viruses. Okay. It's a process where the body's detoxing toxins in the body. That's it. It has to get rid of them. So what it does is raises the temperature, gets the mucus flowing, coughing. That's what the body's doing, detoxing. So anything you can help, like you're getting the salt, having salt baths, that's a really good thing. That'll help. Grounding, if you can just walk in nature, that helps. And grounding means, yeah, non-rubber soles. That's, try and find a pair of shoes that doesn't have a rubber sole. It's really hard. But I've been doing that this summer, and it really helps. Yeah, and I do want to say some things about meat too. I learned way back at the start of my formal spiritual training in the 70s that, you know, so many of us people who are on a spiritual path, they really think that they're more spiritual if they don't eat meat. And I understand the whole animal husbandry and things like that. It's important. And I love animals, and I think the way we treat our animals is deplorable, and it has to stop. Now you can bless your food before you eat it in your water and elevate those energies, you know, and give thanks to the animals for their sacrifice. There are some species of animals on this planet, at least up to this point anyway. This is how the planet's been operating, and that's shifting and changing. I myself, I hardly ever eat meat anymore, and I don't like, you know, to buy meat that's coming from these big plants and big operations. So certain species of plants like cattle, it is their purpose. That's their service to humanity. And chickens and things like that, to provide humans sustenance, you know, for this. I mean, and yet at a soul level, they don't have an individual souls, but at a group soul level, they've been crying for a long, long time to be relieved of their contract, because they're being so abused. And so, you know, I try to go to local ranchers and farmers, the small ones, because I know that they treat their animals with care. Like one day I came out of the farmhouse, and there's the rancher. He's standing in the laneway beside his bull, and he's got a big twig, and he's scratching his bull's back, and his bull is just in ecstasy. You know, that feels so good, you know. And like these ranchers, and they have to doctor their animals. One of the calves was born with some sort of growth on its eyes, and he had to go out every day and give it medicine in his eyes. And another one had a bum leg from the time it was born, and we tried and had hopes for this little guy, Charlie, we named him, and he just was, it just wasn't, it didn't improve, you know. He wasn't grazing. He would just nurse, and then he would just lay down, and he wouldn't come with the rest of the cows into the barnyard to get a drink of water. And we knew he wasn't going to be able to make it through the winter, and he had to shoot that calf, and it was so hard for him to do. I mean, he's been a rancher, you know, for many, many years, and so he's had to do it maybe 20 times before, and every time that's just one of the hardest things for him to do. But so I really respect ranchers and farmers, the small operators, right? Because they do treat their animals, you know, with respect, and they have a good life, you know, living out on eating grass. I mean, at least in Alberta, they eat grass here, you know, until they're ready to be shipped off. And so it's how we treat them, you know, and knowing what these animals' sole purpose is too, and that we're transmuting that energy as well. And there are certain times in your life you have to listen to your soul, always, always, because there'll be some times where it says no meat, or not for you anymore, or your body type, no, it just doesn't work. And that really is the thing to go on, not say I don't eat meat, you know. But you know, certainly I'm moving more towards not eating meat, but you know, it's a natural process that's guided by my soul, not, you know, some spiritual ideal, think that I'm a better person or I'm more spiritual because of, you know, eating just vegetables. I mean, if you think about it, when it comes to the earth, there is nothing that is better as far as, you know, a product than eating animals, than having grazing animals like buffalo or whatever that just eat natural grass. They're not tearing up the earth and planting hectares and millions of hectares of monocrops, destroying the whole ecosystem for these food grains. you know, that we consume. And we think that we're so much better because we don't consume meat. Whereas meat, you know, cattle grazing is, or elk or any animals that are grazing, goats, whatever, are really much more ecological, you know, than planting a bunch of wheat and corn and stuff, right? So it's not just so simple. And but basically, no matter what, we have to follow our own inner guidance as to what we should be doing at this time. And certainly, if the animal has been treated poorly and is in fear and pain and whatnot, then you're going to have to transmute that energy. And it's certainly possible. You know, just like Christina, when you were saying, well, can't you transmute the energy of the city? Well, yes, you can do that. And you can do that with the food and the water you drink as well. You know, basically blessing it and giving thanks, giving thanks.
Well, I would like to say something. Not just changing a little bit the topic about the animals, because this is very polemic and I don't want to introduce into that topic. I've been vegetarian for 21 years and intermittent fasting and things like that. But I want to share just briefly my experience in this week. Well, this week I've been like this character of the Lord of the Rings, like Gollum and Smeagol. There is one part of me that drives me to eat again and to have better habits. And my cravings have been very difficult. Actually, in my dreams, I still dreaming almost every day that I eat. And I've tried to follow the things that you told us, not to eat, what to drink, the dry fasting every day, 14 hours, and also 24 hours once a week. And I've been doing all that. But since I haven't seen yet the fruits of breatharianism, has been very difficult for me to maintain in this state. I have been using all my willpower at its maximum strength to be in the lane. So what has been helpful for me is to take sun. What's been difficult to control my temperature. I have been very cold, but it was very cloudy the last month, and now that we have more sun, it has been really a blessing to take sun. Maybe my coldness is like a necessity of taking sun. So the sun for me has been great, like food. And also I've had some kidney pains in this week also. I have also thrown some parasites, just small and quite a few, but if I check and if I am thorough when I go to the bathroom, it's amazing because I still detoxing. So since I haven't seen the fruits of breatharianism, it's difficult for me to keep it on the path. And my goal or my aim wasn't to stop eating at all as I'm doing now. My aim was to eat once a week, at most twice a week, and not out of necessity, but out of pleasure. And I'm wondering, and one of my questions today, if why do I have to wait one more month as a liquidarian? Can I eat once a week from now, or I still have to wait one more month or 2 more months to adapt to this style? And also, I have another question that I have been drinking coconut water, a little bit of seawater, some juices, but am I really feeding from in a panic style, or I'm taking the nutrients from the liquids I'm drinking? So that's why I'm a little confused. If I'm really breatharian now, or I just diminish the amount of calories of each week drinking the stuff I'm drinking. So could you tell me some about these things, Grace, please? Also, one more thing. The last 3 days, I've been trying to watch one lecture of the Breatharian World Congress in YouTube, and this has been really useful because it keeps me on the track, like listening to people that have their experiences and tips that they give. So it's important to keep feeding myself from that information to not lose my way. But it has been really difficult week, actually.
Thank you, Eric, for sharing.
Thanks for listening.
And it sounds like it's been challenging, and not just for you, but for others too. And it also sounds like, from what you shared, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you're in it for the benefits of it. So it's like you really, you know, uh, uh, it's like a solution, a finding, or like a robot that finds the way that is the most efficient, or going the way that brings, like it's almost like a business kind of tool. It just comes to my mind. If it's a good deal and it's bringing benefits, then okay, that's the deal. So I don't really know what was your motivation, the beginning, how we did the exercise, firstly with Ray, and then in that first day of integration, going deeper into answering the question, why am I actually doing this process? Why am I in this? Not, and maybe the answer, through this process for you was, well, I want some benefits from it. So it's conditional in a way. If this works, then I'm going. If it's not, then I'm not. And I might be completely incorrect. So take it through the filter. But going into that, it's like this Socrates questioning. You want to investigate it. Okay, so and what's behind that? And then when you answer that, but what's behind that? Why is this that? And then why is that important? And then continue until it feels, and there will be a moment when the answer is just like mind-blowing, and that's your answer. And until you feel the movement inside of you, that's just mental body trying to figure things out. And it's not the mental body that answering why you're on this journey. So I invite you to go there, and answer that question yourself. I have nothing to offer you in that way.
Yeah, but
Can I-
in this sense, of course, my perspective was I want uh, take this style of chronic lifestyle because I want to feel better, not because I want to suffer or feel worse. But now, when I arrive to work, I have the the habit of, or I had the habit of eating something that this was like a gift from me. And now when I arrive from work from a difficult day is much more difficult because I have to find inspiration for other things. But there is a rebel part of me that says that how can I have inspiration if I don't have this before? So this has been a kind of challenging. One part of me, I'm divided because one part of me knows all the benefits of breatharianism and all the good things it has, but maybe I am being impatient to think like this now. So I don't know. My first question is: can I add one food a week? Do you think is appropriate, or I have to keep on liquidarian for 1 month and to see what happens next with my body?
And which part is asking? The rebel part is asking, or the other part?
Yeah, of course, the rebel part, because the rebel part says that he likes food and he don't wants to quit completely from food. I don't feel hungry anymore, but I have cravings. It has been really difficult. And well, this is my first question. Yeah.
Okay. So if I can speak to that part, to the rebel, is that okay?
You're asking the rebel part?
Yes. Rebel, I'm
No,
curious.
yeah, the rebel part says, yeah, it's okay. That was our aim. But the other part says, hey, you have follow the instructions because they know their work, and they are telling you that maybe it's more appropriate to wait 1 more month to get rid of toxins and things like that, and stop eating. That's what my other part answers me. But my rebel part says, hey, if your aim wasn't to stop, so now I am like more forbidden than how I'm going to be in the future, according to my aim.
Uh-huh.
And this part who is speaking now about the rebel part and the other part, what can I call this part? What can I call you?
Smeagol and Gollum.
These are the two parts. What about this part who's speaking now?
Yeah, the part that really wants to be breatharian.
No, that's the part you talked about that wants the benefits. I'm talking about this part who is quite aware that there's two parts. So
Okay, the central part, yeah.
the central part.
That is aware of both.
The golem.
There is three me's. The one who listens and the.
Okay.
Okay.
So I just want to say I really respect you, central part, because it sounds like you've got a lot of awareness of what's going on, and you can see the inner conflict that's happening there. And I'm curious, have you got resources to navigate and mediate between those two parts?
Yeah, that's why I am here now with you, listening to all of you, and that's why I'm still having my dry fast and following the right part, because my strength and my aim is that it is not to lose all the effort that I have made. So actually, my meditation is great. I practice qigong, yoga every day. If I decide to meditate, I'm quite centered without clouds. But well, I think it's adaptation.
It's adaptation. Well, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing is, am I really feeding from prana, or I'm feeding from this tea? I'm drinking Artemisa tea, which is very nutritious, and the juices, or to knowing that I'm really feeding from prana, do I have to only drink water to take away that doubt?
And which part is asking the question?
Well, my logical part, my male part, which is very strong.
Your logic part and your male part.
Yeah.
But that's not
Because my logic says, okay, how are you feeding from prana if you're still drinking all these nutritious things every day for 10 hours?
Okay. And what about the feminine part? What does that part feel about this?
Well, the feminine part, try to be in the now and not to anticipate the future, not to recall the past, but try to be centered, which is also strong in me. I am a musician, and I love to do feminine things. I love to listen to music that I don't interpret the meanings, which is where I use my feminine part of the brain. But yeah, there is confusion and division with me. Sometimes when I listen to the breatharians and I see the happiness and the brightness of them, I get inspired, and I really would like to follow this. I see how is the world, how the controllers are creating this necessity in the people, how they control everyone with the food. And I want to get rid of that. Also, my logical part tells me that. I think that we are now in a period of the history that is very important to strengthen this line of breatharianism. But I really want to make sure, because there is the 21-day process, another person make another process. There is a guy in the breatharian world that says that he clicks something in the brain, and after that everyone becomes breatharian, and it's impossible not to become breatharian after this. So there are different processes. I have the book of Jasmuchim, the Food of Gods, And my logical part is saying, hey, maybe if you are so divided, maybe you need to do something more gradual, like the book says, to attain this state. But I don't know, that those are my confusions. But I really strongly want to become this. I really want to stop these cravings, to stop this desire of food. I know this controls us, and I have realized that if I can get rid of food, I can get rid of everything. Is the most difficult attachment to release. My father has restaurants. I was created in a restaurant environment. In my blood, there is the craving of food. So I am cutting also old old things from family.
Mm. And Matt, I see you. Just let you speak in a moment. I just want to finish here just my share. I feel like today's activity might be able to help you find the answer that you're seeking, and also a little bit of hope. Confusion is just a step before the breakthrough. So, so, so it's great
I
where you
think I'm in the good path. Okay.
because you're just about to break through. So enjoy the confusion while you can.
Okay.
And Matt, did you want to say something?
Yeah, something I just wanted to pitch in. Okay, because for me, Eric, and mind you, this is just me, and I know that you're different than me. Okay, because I'm not struggling as much with cravings. But like where I came from was all out junk food junkie, and like I said, I would go to town to run an errand, and I would stop by the gas station, buy a bunch of crap before I got home and ate it. um and so I actually went from, where you came from, like maybe just being a very healthy eater, to this versus my like crazy, this is like cold turkey. I had it in my head, but my body was something. But the whole point I was thinking of is, for me, because I have done some research in the past, and I was already convinced that historically there were people that ate nothing or very little. I mean, there's some research on it. It's archaeological that I'd learned, and so then I stumbled upon other things, some ancient writings that mentioned some weird stuff like that. So I was able to be convinced that this is a thing, and then I found some crazy people that like actually are saying, yeah, I do this. Okay, so part of it has to do with quote unquote faith based on evidence, and then but for me, I've got a family. I got a wife who's watching me. She's, I'm the experiment, and so she's watching me to see what's going on and whether this is worthy of her time. um, and then I have children, and so for me, that's why I run all these numbers. I want to see the numbers behind this crap, and I want to feel it. And so when I didn't do things as well as you did at the beginning. It wasn't. I think it was actually a mistake. I was thinking, oh, I could drink some broth, and da 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 da. And so for the first two, I did it. But what I watched is I I was only eating 2,500, maybe 3,000 calories in a week. Okay, in a week, and I'm going, and I could feel the difference. My times on my bicycling went from 35 minutes to 24 minutes, okay, over 2 weeks. And my calorie intake, actually, the second week, I even did less. But my energy level did go up. I mean, I got this all charted. And so, I know that that'll be different. I know that'll be different for everybody. Okay, everybody's
Yeah,
different.
but you also lost weight, and that weight loss is because your body took the energy from the grease you had, from the fat.
Right. But the 2 weeks, those 2 weeks, the reason, like this week, I didn't eat anything because those 2 weeks I didn't lose weight. I mean, depending upon which day I measure it, I might have been able to say I lost 2 weeks, 2 pounds in 2 weeks, but it kind of goes up between, like if I do a dry fast, I might lose some weight, and then when I drink water, like I didn't lose any weight I actually gained weight on my water days. I mean, I write it down all in a chart because I was wanting to lose weight, and that's why I said, well, crap, this is working too good. I want to actually lose weight. So now that, I mean, this is, that's only a 2-week experiment. I'm just saying, because the reality, the rubber meets the road. When I get down to 175 pounds or whatever, 165 pounds, whatever it is, and then I'm eating like this all the time, or say tasting like this all the time, will I still lose weight? That's really where we'll know, oh, this really stinking works. But in the past, if I only ate 2,500, 3,000 calories a week, there's no stinking way I wouldn't lose a bunch of weight. And so far, there's something going on. That's all I can say is something's going on, because my energy level did go up, and my weight wasn't just falling off. Now this week, and like I said, all I can say is I had to talk with my body because I wanted to lose the weight, and I didn't eat anything, and I forced myself to bike 6 days a week and do like 4 days a lift, 10-minute weight training or something like that. And I did. I lost somewhere between 8 and 10 pounds this week. And so does that mean I'm not breatharian because I lost all the weight? I don't know. And maybe I ought to. So this week I'm going to do coffee and tea and see what happens. But right now it looks like my ketones haven't changed. They're still through the roof. So I'm going to check my blood after this, because I just drank some tea with some monk fruit in it, to see what that does to my blood and my ketones, or my glucose and ketones. So that's the only thing I can say. Am I saying the verdict is out? I'm just saying there's some evidence that I can't deny so far, because that's what I want to be able to say is this has been my experience. When my son comes here, he's unless I got some documentation and he sees his dad consuming this, and I'm crap, my battery might die. Just a sec here. So yeah, that's all. I was just gonna share that with you, just in case it plays any value. My phone might die on me, just so you know, because it's set up.
I'm exactly at that point. I'm at 1%. I might have less than a minute before my phone dies.
Yeah.
I just want to say
So,
that when it comes to a 21-day integration period, it's a well-known fact that it takes 21 days to change a habit. And so if you want, in order to override your old habits, you have to do your new habit or process 21 days. And I think that's what this integration period is about. And within that 21 days, you're going to have your ups and your downs. And you're going to have, it's a cleansing process. So some days you're going to feel weak and crappy and shitty and cranky. And and other days you're going to feel better, but you have to go through the 21 days to really anchor it in to the body. And that's why we're going through these 21 days of integration, why we have our support meetings, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, you're going to feel crappy. That's just normal. It's a normal process some days, and then eventually at the 21 days, like Ray says, your energy is going to start going up. It took him 6 months for him to regain his energy from his 21-day process, and it'll be much faster for us. So just hang in there, and you'll achieve what you want to achieve, and keep listening to those inspiring stories, from the the international breatharian group.
Yeah.
I was going to say something too, Eric. It's something to consider in that negotiation with that part of your body is if you can, I mean, honestly, if you can come up with something that it depends what you want to do. For me, I found something out that I was doing an old habit. See, there's this habit. I really wouldn't watch TV, and if it weren't this situation where I'm here with we bought this house for my dad and my father-in-law, and he has the living room set up with a TV in it, and he watches TV all day. And if it were me, I would not even have it. Because I just don't want to sit in front of the TV, and I don't want to listen to it. I don't want that to be my what I'm hanging around. But what I would do is we would watch something, and I would sit down and I would drink my water and I would chew my ice, or I would taste whatever I was tasting. But that's exactly what I used to do. I was giving myself a positive stimulation doing something that I don't really want to reinforce. And that's something I recognize that I have to change. So what I've done different, and Eric, how you come home and there's that reward of coming home. Depending upon
I think his battery is out.
It froze.
what
Eric, I
your
feel like
goal is. If I'm gone, am I still
Matt,
there or
we
no?
see you, Matt. We see you. Let's keep going.
Okay. Okay, I was just going to say, whatever it is you want to positively reinforce, unless you want to change something, you can negotiate with your body and come up with something that's still along the lines of liquid that tastes. I mean, I don't know about you, but taste is like so amazing right now that it doesn't take much where you can come up with something that delights your soul, even though it's still within the guidelines. It can be broth or one of your nut milk mixed with something, and you might be able to content even the rebel in your soul. I don't know how, it depends how that is, but it's just something to consider. Because for me, that's why I took the step back and am just making myself do this fast and be more strict, because I really just want to drop the rest of this weight, and it wasn't working doing it the other way, because I just had too much energy. So anyway, I'll shut up.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Oh, thank you everyone too for your input. So to finish, I would love to invite you to do the activity that may shift a lot for you today and for the coming week. So you would need a pen and a journal or piece of paper. So make sure that you have something to write on. And I mentioned that we're going to be talking about relationships, working on the relationships, but always coming back to the relationship with self. And that relationship with self is a taught experience. One of the ways we learn that, how we treat ourselves, how we speak to ourselves, how we nurture ourselves, has got a lot to do with our mother. So I would like each of you to invite you to write down. So the first activity, the first task will be to write down the positive aspects of your mother and just list them in a dot point. What are the positive aspects of your mom? from your perspective, what you able to notice. Perhaps you have the same positive aspects, you learn them, or maybe you're inspired by them. What is wonderful about your mom? Even if it was something, if it's hard to find something positive, like she changed my nappies, that's really good, even to that kind of basic. And it could be something that you notice about her now or from your childhood. It doesn't really matter. So positive aspects of your mom. And for the next week, I invite you to keep adding to that list. What else you can notice about your mom, whether she's alive or not, that you can recognize in her. It could be also a positive aspect, her dream that maybe hasn't happened, but she has a dream. Or maybe she had a dream of creating something for herself or her family. Maybe some needs of hers, positive needs. What makes her special and unique? Something about her that is different from other moms. Okay, number 2. Maybe another page. What is the negative side of your mother? According to you. Maybe according to others too. Maybe some other people notice the same thing that you are able to perceive about your mother. Something that perceive as negative side. Write it all down. Maybe there's more than one. Maybe there used to be a negative side and she was able to move through it. Or maybe there's something that she does or says, some kind of a pattern that it's always there, that you don't find quite beneficial for you or others. And we're moving a little bit deeper. So number 3 or 3rd page. We'll write down things that you learn from her. So what I learned from my mother. Whether you have learned it already or what you're learning now, what you want to learn from her. Could be anything, could be not to make the same mistake, for example. Anything that you're learning from her through her life, the way she is, maybe the lessons she has given you, and something that you remember and stuck to your mind. Or maybe something she hasn't done and you're learning that you want to do it. Maybe break a cycle or whatever it may be. And number 4, What does she add to me? What does she add to me? What my mother adds to me? If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be, or if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't feel or do. What does she add? Maybe through the patterns that she's been doing, or for example, in neglect, you learn to be independent, and she's giving you the skill of being independent, or maybe giving you a skill of being nurturing or caring, whatever it is. What does she add to you? Perhaps even the present moment, there's something that she adds when you see her or think of her. And number 5, what does my mother take away from me? Perhaps if she's overcaring, maybe she's taking away your assertiveness or your freedom. I don't know. What is there that she takes away from you? Could be one thing, could be 5 things. And number 6. And I want you to really connect with your mom and find out really what are her dreams or what were her dreams, and list those dreams. What do you think your mother's dreams are? Or where? What did she want to achieve or aspire to do or be? Whether it will be for herself or her family or for you. Throughout her life, what her dream might be. Because she does or had dreams, don't we all? Number 7. What is your strongest disappointment about your mom? Maybe something she should have done and didn't do it. Maybe she didn't follow the dreams that she had. I don't know. If there was 1 or 2, you're really strongly disappointed about her, what is that? And number 8. How does that all relate to me? All these points, the 7 points, her dreams, disappointment. How does that relate to me? All of it. So I encourage you to every day go back to that list, to those 7 and the the last point afterwards, to keep adding if there is something to add. Maybe there won't be anything to add, maybe there will be something else. But each day ask yourself those questions. And another task is to do the same thing, the same questions regarding your father, your dad. So that's another homework. So what the dad adds to you, what it's taking away or has taken away, his dreams. Make another list for dad. Let's see what comes up. What you're shifting, what you're releasing, what you're accepting, inviting to you and for this journey. And I would love to hear about those shifts next week when we meet. And before we leave, I'm curious, changing the time, moving it forward, like a meeting 1 hour earlier. How does that sound for you guys? Can you all do it? I'm just curious because we had a time change here. So for me, it's an actually hour later now.
I can.
You can? Okay.
For me, it's a little complicated. For me, it's easier, the old schedule.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm with Eric. But I just wouldn't be able to volunteer and I'd have to find a replacement. So.
Okay. So I'll ask on the WhatsApp group, and if the majority of you finds it difficult to change, then we'll just stick with this time. So no problem. And I'll just try to shift things around here on my side.
So Grace, just one little question. Do you suggest that it's okay to eat broth, vegetable broth every day, or we have to do it twice a week, 3 times a week? What's your recommendation?
You mean
with
drinking?
broth? Sorry?
Drinking broth?
Yeah, drinking broth. Yeah.
Yeah. You can
Just
do it
one.
a day, you can do it 3 times, 5 times a day.
Okay. Okay. And also the juice, is there a limit for juices or for not milkshake or things like that? Or we just listen to the body? If I have a craving, it comes a little bit, or what do you recommend?
Yes, we spoke about the cravings before. So when the craving, what you think it's craving, comes, just pause and see if it's physical craving, or is it emotional craving, or is it, what is it? Or is it mental, craving that, oh, it's 12 o'clock, I should drink something because it's noon, it's lunchtime. Or is it like, oh my God, I really want to drink it because, it makes me think of my dad or whatever, or I feel connected with someone? Or is it that you feel like, okay, I feel a little bit dehydrated, I feel like some liquids will be really lovely for the body? So just attending to yourself and what is behind it, which body are you feeding, and if there is actual need to feed it, because maybe for the, like Matt said, maybe it is just a learned behavior that the mind is attached to. So just being gentle on it, there's no right or wrong, and allowing that feminine part to really come out, and for the man part, the masculine part, to surrender, knowing that it's okay, that it doesn't have to be black or white or any color, that it's like doesn't have to be always as scheduled. that will also offer something to your masculine, just relax and peace, that you don't always have to try to figure things out, that the feminine, the flowy part has got your back, and it's okay. You're not gonna fail. You don't have to figure things out all by yourself. It's all perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, thank you again for showing up. And I will share the recording via emails for yourselves if you want to get back to it, and for those who missed it today. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you, everyone.
Have a lovely week ahead.
You too.
So great to see you guys. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.